News 93.9. Good morning, 719. Let's jump right into the KUAM News Zoom room, where we have sitting by here Labor Director Dave Dell'isola with the latest on the pandemic unemployment assistance. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing absolutely sunshiny and great. Feeling good.
A beautiful day.
The coffee's hitting right. So we'll just give you the floor. Just give us a general update, and then Sabrina has like 52 tough questions for you. Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, I'd like to tell you that, as Sabrina announced, that we released or batched on Tuesday another $7.1 million of PUA, which translated to $5.7 million in direct deposits and $834 million in checks, with $587 going into taxes. And then the week before that, of course, we batched $9.6 million in PUA. And that brings us up to about $430 million in PUA payments paid out since June. So we're doing this pretty well. We batched this a week early, as you've been reading in the press releases, that we are trying to do the Lost Wage Act. Last week, as you know, we've been waiting for the waiver, the presidential waiver, which tells us that we can not have to pay the $100 portion of the $400 share, or we can just pay $300. All the states took advantage of that offset through their UI program because they pay a state contribution in UI, but Guam doesn't have it. So therefore, FEMA came up with a waiver from the president several month and a half ago or 2 months ago, and advised the governor to take advantage of it. The governor wrote to Trump. FEMA's been following up, and I've been, as they say in old terms, bird dogging it and staying on top of it. And finally, I said, how much longer, you guys got to help us. So basically, Bob Fenton and FEMA regional administrator talked to the governor, told her to go ahead. He felt that she should just go ahead and pay for it, told me that too. And we'll work on the waiver, and hopefully we can get that out sometime soon. And if it doesn't, we can work on it next year, because they didn't plan on making us pay for it for almost another year if that came about. So he felt confident that we can get the waiver. So the governor, sitting down talking, said, let's get this money out. It's, this PCOR one's been going for a while. The people need the help. It's the holiday season. So we've been trying to find a way to get it out. So the best way we were doing it is that we basically printed out everybody that's qualified for the LWA and making $100, and we're starting to audit it. And we are hoping to pay by next Tuesday, which is the 24th of November. As we closed down 311, because we needed all hands on deck to get this massive project up and running and cleaning and scrubbing. And we're now noticing there's a lot of claims that are missing documents and proof of their furlough and then reemployment and then refurlough. As we know, August 17th, we went back into PCOR 1 from PCOR 3. There was a lot of businesses that opened up in that 1 month time, as we are aware of and remember. And a lot of people just either kept applying, or they were furloughed and they just started reapplying without showing any documentation when exactly they were refurloughed. And that's the kind of documentation that the auditors, which we are in 5 audits right now. So we're getting the flavor of what they're looking for when they're auditing the PUA program, the LWA program, and the various other programs that we have, that they want to just show proof that If you were working, then you usually have check stubs that you were working. And then when you were furloughed, a letter that says basically on August 17th, you are hereby furloughed until further notice. And those are the kind of documents that we need to show that, because not everybody furloughed on the 17th. Some people might have done on the 18th or the 20th, or some kept open all the time. And that's the problem that we're seeing now. And I'm trying to get this money out to everybody. And we're trying to do this as quickly as possible. So today's press release is basically a call out to all those poor people that were, if you were furloughed the whole time, then you don't have to worry about anything because you were continuously in the same condition and there's no other documents that you need to share. But if you were working and then you were eventually re-furloughed a second time, then all you need to do is show some kind of proof that any auditor or somebody that can, if they went into your claim, would just basically see, boom, you were re-furloughed, here's a letter, the check stubs show you that you were working and now you were laid off because of COVID. And that's the call out that I'm doing. And we're gonna batch it anyway on the 24th. It may not be as big as I anticipated because of we are, like I said, as we are going in there and scrubbing, we're learning more and more things. And there's a lot of people that may have overpayments, meaning they were went back to work and then they were re-furloughed, but some of them have amnesia and forgot to stop filing their weeklies. And they kept filing and kept getting the money even though that they were back to work. And they know that that's not what they're supposed to be doing. So those are just some of the problems that we're seeing, and we keep just trying to move forward, working as hard as we can. This is the first batch for the LWA. We will probably do another one in 2 weeks or so, depending on how this first batch goes, and we audit that batch again after the payment. It won't be the last one, so if you don't make this payment, you can prepare and get ready for the second round of it a little later on. And we'll just keep our fingers crossed that this 24th payment will go well with the programmers. I have another meeting after this with one last meeting with the programmers to go over all the issues and everything in anticipation for the 24th. That'll be an hour and a half, 2 hour meeting this morning. So we hope to have everything lined up. I mean, we are basically running head on with this. No time for advanced planning and all this stuff because time is just too short and our people need the money. The governor said, get the money out. So that's what I'm doing.
We do have some comments here from some of our viewers regarding the LWA and this call out for information. Why just now? They're asking for more documents and giving us only up until tomorrow, or we will be disqualified. We were furloughed since September.
Not going to be disqualified. This is something, yes, if I had more time to give you, but you kind of heard my timeline. And yes, I can give you all the time, a lot more time, and wait for the payment to go out. That's the alternative. Or pay those people who follow the instructions on the claim and say that you're supposed to upload all your documents. And when you are furloughed and rehired, then, you stop filing. So everything is good. But then when you're re-furloughed, you know that you're supposed to give a document from your employer that states that you are hereby furloughed because of COVID and not because you were fired or not because of other reasons, which you'll be surprised. There's a lot of people, not a lot, there are some people who got the PUA and have gotten a little lazy going back to work, and they decided that they didn't want to go back to work, and then they were eventually fired. And when that happens, they're no longer qualified for PUA. And that's just one instance. There's so many instances when you're talking about 20 to 25,000 people there are hundreds of every kind of story that's out there. We've always said you need to have your documents in order to prove that you were laid off or furloughed because of COVID. And if you're re-furloughed, you still need those same documents, just like when you were initially furloughed. Nothing has changed. People just forget that that's what is required. And I'm reminding them.
All right. I wanted to go in a little bit more on this total $431 million in PUA payments paid out since June. Can you refresh my memory? How much in PUA money did Guam get for the payouts?
We got, way back when the first week or two of this whole mess in March, we had to come up with a budget.
Yeah.
You know, they just said, hey, how much money do you need for this whole program? And, you know, we had a group of people saying, well, how do you plan this? So, of course, we just said, sit down, and we took the worst case scenario. And so we budgeted $945 million, including administrative costs, about $924 million, give or take, for the program. So we budgeted with a lot of cushion for this program. So right now we're at 430, and we have about a month, just over a month left in this program. And people, unfortunately, are starting to time out, meaning they're reaching the 39 weeks starting next month, if not already. You know, if you filed since February, you're one of those early furloughs, then you've already started to reach your 39 weeks of the program. And the program ends on the 26th. Everybody ends.
And what do we do if we have money left over? We give it back to the feds.
Well, technically, we don't have money left over. That's why every time I batch a file, and you know, on Tuesday I come up with that dollar amount, we send that request to USDOL for an allotment drawdown, and then they draw down and put in the bank the exact amount of money that batch is. That's why, you know, way back when you heard everybody, oh, they're just holding that 900 million in the bank and getting, no, we're not. They only give us what we batch up to, and then that money, as soon as it goes in the bank, gets released in direct deposits. So that is just a working number. That 945 or 24 million is just a working number, and we draw it as we need it.
I see. Where are you with are you still getting a lot of fraudulent claims?
We are. That's always a lot of work. We have some additional measures in which seem to be helping us. As you know, we estimate. I have a oversight hearing coming up this Friday. Yeah. So we've been, and the governor's office has also been asking us for numbers. So in between all the regular work, we're trying to put together some numbers. And one number that I will share with you is that we estimate about 80,000 claims of fraud have been submitted into the system. And that calculates to about over $600 million worth of claims that we've managed to catch and remove. That gives you an idea of the workload of just getting those things. That's why we batch every day, is that we have to literally go in and remove up to 90% of fraud from the list that for that day, and just remove them out and try to get to our Guam good claimants that have all the documents in and everything like that. So that just gives you an idea of what we're up against. And we continue to work with the feds. We have forwarded cases to them, both locally in the AG's office, the FBI, and to the OIG, Homeland Security. They're also working with the attacks that we've had through Autobots and through computers. I don't want to get too specific, but we've had several massive organized attacks on our system that try to either bring the system down or try to dump thousands of claims in a very short amount of time. And these have closed the system for a day as we caught it and regrouped and put in those preventative measures. So we've managed, or the system has managed, a programmer, since this is a cloud-based system that is being used in half a dozen states. So this is a very robust, secured system, thank God. And they've managed to thwart all that kind of massive organized attack. So they're looking at those attacks to see whether or not there are anything that they can get out of it, as far as where is it coming from? Is it a organized syndicate? Is it coming from a different country? Is it, there's all kinds of problems. And like I said before, we are getting, we had to close 311, but we were getting about 30% or more calls that were coming in from fraud calls demanding payment. That's how brazen they keep getting. So they're calling up demanding payment, telling us that we're in violation of the laws. What's wrong? I demand to get my payment now. And as soon as we start questioning who they are, what they are, they eventually just hang up.
To the AG's office.
A couple. We try to cherry pick the more obvious ones, the ones that are that you just shake your head saying, "Really? You're really going to do this?" and our people just and those are the ones that we're forwarding to the various agencies, depending on what they're trying to do, how obvious they are, and how much money they might have tried to get paid or they try to get paid. So we distributed those investigations out evenly according to how egregious they are.
Mm-hmm. Update on appeals?
Oh, the appeals, well, they're going very well. We have probably taken care of about 50 some appeals since we started several weeks ago. And the biggest thing that we've been able to do is the informal process. A lot of the steps in the appeals is once we get your appeal, we reach out and we make sure that you have all your documents, that you understand what is going to be the next steps, and if you want to make sure that you're going to move forward. A lot of times they explain what's going on. They say, "Oh, now I understand," and I withdraw. Or if they say, "Well, I have this document, once it's uploaded, we see it," then we might just say, "Oh, this changes the whole narrative and we'll fix this claim right here and then," and they're happy. So we say at least 60% of those that are filed have withdrawn their appeals through an informal process of just reaching out, talking to them, and working through and making sure that they understand what the process is. But out of those appeals, because as you always hear, I want to get the money out. I don't take holding people or DQing, as we call it, disqualifying them very lightly. And so far, with all the appeals that have been heard, we haven't lost one case. Mm-hmm. And that has to do with, every time that they're going to DQ and, there is a lot of reasons behind it. We sit down and we talk it over as a group and get a consensus before we do that. And so I like to think that we're very careful, and that goes to tell you how careful that we are. But and if there is any reason to change, we change it before it gets to the appeals process. But yes, we are holding appeals, every week, and we're trying to cut them down. We still got a couple hundred more, and we've managed to hear and solve 53 of them so far. And that's a long process. It's run just like a courtroom to make sure that the claimant has their rights and they hear all the facts and understand what's going on.
We do have someone online asking for the numbers for the appeal hotline.
There's no appeals hotline. There is a letter that you get and a form that you get, and then you submit that in to us, and then that gets processed and queued. And when you get close to your queue, that's when we reach out and we start talking to you to prepare you for and schedule you and find out, we try to do as many as possible through Zoom. But if they don't, then we have our third floor conference room set up to as a hearing room. And as a backup to that, we are using the civil service hearing room as an alternative site. But because of this PCOR 1, we try to encourage everybody to do Zoom. But if they don't have the computers and stuff, we schedule them for a live hearing.
I do have another question. What is the overtime payment to?
The overpayment?
Yeah, overtime payments.
There's no overtime payment. There's an overpayment,
Okay.
and that usually occurs when you a typical scenario is like when you got you applied and you got paid for your weeks, a certain amount of weeks, and then PPP came in and your employer paid you for those weeks. So you got PUA payments for weeks that you were paid. So that is an overpayment, meaning for those weeks you have to repay it. Or that you incorrectly put in, you went back to work part-time and you got a check and you incorrectly calculated the dollar amount of the reduction in the PUA payment and you got paid more. That's an overpayment. Or you went back to work and you filed that you were still out of work for that week or weeks, and we audit you and we find that out. That is an overpayment that you have to pay back. So there are many reasons for overpayments, and those are the ones that we are, you get a notice and we're working on with each and every claimant that's out there.
How much in overpayment was then paid out?
I'm getting all that information, and all that information will be, I'm trying to get it prepared for Friday so that I can give you a summary if you care to join us.
You have an estimate? You have an estimate on the overpayments?
You have no idea how many numbers I have in my head. It's just, we have collected, I want to say that I'm afraid that if I say a number, it might be the wrong number, and then I set it out, and I don't like to give misinformation. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Like I said, I just have way too many numbers in my head in order for me to feel comfortable in telling you what it is. But yes, we've done some overpayments, and I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. So we've managed to collect around $100,000 in overpayments, give or take. I'm not sure if that's the right number, but yes, we've managed to close about 19. This is as of, let me see where I'm at. I'm sorry. Total amount recovered. Okay. So in October, we managed to collect about $156,000 in overpayments, and the total amount of overpayments is about just over $500,000 that we've identified as overpayments. So we've collected 156, and the others are all being worked on and processed, and worked out as far as if, how are they going to pay back, or if they're going to pay back, they want to pay back, but those are the things. So we managed to collect $156,000 in cash back from overpayments. And a lot of the honest people, say, oh, I knew I shouldn't have gotten this money, I'm holding it. Can we get this money to you? And we worked out for them to make an appointment to come in and settle their accounts.
All right. Thanks.
Dave, thank you. This was like a pre-oversight hearing.
Yeah, you guys grilled me. You guys should be run for senator.
Oh, no. We're good. We're good. Don't do much running around here. Thank you, Dave. It's good practice for tomorrow.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Of course.
And you guys all be safe. And,
Be safe.
thank you for allowing me to get the information out to the public.
I know
Well,
it's not
thank you.
it's not really a breakfast food, Dave, but I made virtual cut and pica, and it's in little to go balutan, so you could take some for lunch. Okay.
I will send a runner over.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
A virtual runner.
There you go. Yeah. Everything's virtual now. See you, Dave Dell'isola. It's 7:46.